Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
Just to remind everybody that language usage and content that we provide here may be disturbing, disgusting, probably will be and should be. Words like bloody custard and words that rhyme with that may be featured. Actually will be featured. In fact, perhaps will only be featured. Just warning you. Yes, this show is brought to you by Wow Tables.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
Alright, we're meeting a man called Varun Hooja. That's Hooja without the A. A man who runs Machan. What is Machan? How can you get there? How much time can you spend there? Do you get a spiritual awakening when you're there? How much does it cost? And do you get tax rebate? All this will be answered in the next few minutes with Varun Hooja without the A.
Cyrus says we have other shows too. You should check them out.
Hi, I'm Amit Gurbaksani.
I'm Purva Mehra.
And I'm Pranoti Datta. And we're from a city website called The Daily Pow. And we have a new podcast called The Powcast. So you can listen to us on the IndusVox SoundCloud page as well as iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
Alright, here on Cyrus Says, I'm a little upset with schools all over India, especially Mumbai, where my children still study after 15-20 years each. And the sad part is technology has changed the world, and I can't understand why children have to know spellings. What's the point about taking their marks away because their basic spellings are bad? Are you telling me that today they're going to go out there and not use spell check, not use the computers, not have autocorrect? Come on, it's going to happen. So let's stop lying. Arundhati Roy herself uses spell check. I know. She can't spell Naxalite without autocorrect. So let me tell all the schools out there, please give up on spelling. In fact, give up on maths. Science also, I think, is overtly done and pressurized on people. Let them use the computers and refer to content which is already there. It's all about pressing the right button. Of course, supervise your kids' viewership of the internet, because sometimes there are very dangerous forces on it, like me. It's called Cyrus Says.
Cyrus says ad breaks are beneficial to your mental health.
This show is brought to you by Wow Tables. I spoke to Kunal and Deepa, the founders, about Wow Tables. Now tell us, what does it entail completely? How can we save money, we're Indians? We're not interested in anything else but how we can save money and enjoy a good meal.
So we've got curated dining experiences at some of the nicest restaurants in several cities in India now.
Okay.
And apart from the fact that we guide you into what to order and what to not, we also help you save at least 30 to 50% on that.
What are you saying? 30 to 50% on a meal?
That's right.
I mean, count me in, I eat a lot. You better be careful, don't want to break the
And
bottle.
you get to have multiple courses.
Oh, so you can tell I eat a lot, huh? Deepa, that's very rude. It was not necessary, that was mean. Visit wowtables.com to book an experience and use the code Cyrus Says to get 500 rupees off on your first reservation. I repeat, 500 rupees off. That's 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus 100 plus another 100. Yeah, that's right.
And that's what Cyrus says.
Yep, on Cyrus Says, we've got a very interesting man who's come here, and I've got so many questions to ask him. Primarily, his name has just completely befuddled me. His name is Varun Hooja. Now, that's not Ahuja, that's Hooja. Now, growing up, spending time in Delhi, spending time in the north, I know they like to eat up the first syllable. I remember Wasim Akram in an interview saying, Neil bowled well. And for 5 minutes, Harsha Bhogle asked him, who's Neil? Figured out it was Anil. But there's no need for the first syllable when you're Punjabi. So it's like, Neil bowled well, and it's done. So I want to ask you, before we start and introduce who you really are, Varun, is it Hooja or is it Hooja and they've just swallowed it up?
It's definitely Hooja, and like we say, I am a Hooja, but I'm not a Hooja.
You set me up for that. You must have a lot of practice for that one.
20 minutes in the car.
There you go. Hooja. All right. The name is very important because he's the man behind a very successful luxury eco resort called Machan. Now, being a Parsi, let me tell you right off the bat, Varun, I first thought it was Makan. And I was more interested in whether it's Makan more than Makan, and was there a butter angle, hence food, and can I put on more weight? But no, it's actually a luxury eco resort, and it's been awarded by TripAdvisor as one of the best eco-friendly places to stay at. Let's start right with that. Now, there are lots of resorts out there, but lots are claiming to be eco, because that seems to be now the new wave.
Yep.
And if you want to stay in it, you have to at least pretend to be eco, am I right?
Absolutely, yeah. So as far as we're concerned, actually, we were not doing this from a marketing angle, but I guess that's everybody's opening line. The point here
we'll edit it, yeah. 20 bucks. Just promise me you'll become an Hooja.
Yes, okay, I can't do that. No, so the point is we are actually still 100% off-grid, which means we are not connected to the Maharashtra government when it comes to electricity, pani, sewage. We handle all of this in-house.
So you'll work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You are the people we should go to.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it is. So, when people come and ask us like, oh, you're not connected to the grid, but फिर बत्ती का क्या होगा? I said, sir, धूप तो हर रोज आती है, don't worry about that. You'll always have electricity. We've got backups as well and so on and so forth. So you're actually going to be better off staying with us rather than in Pune.
Fair enough. Dhoop is not the problem as much as thund is what we want in this part of the country.
Correct.
So let me just understand this once again. So how do you ensure that everything is working if you don't have any help from the government? Because I thought it's all state run when it comes to electricity and water and other facilities.
So we started doing this as an experiment just for ourselves.
This is also the Maharashtra government doing the government. It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so we started experimenting with self-power and water sources about 20 years ago. And over the last 5 years, when we opened Machan, we decided to continue down that route of being completely self-sufficient. So over the years, we've managed to set up one of the largest power banks from solar and wind. We have a hybrid power bank.
Now we come to the main platform. Okay.
Yeah, so it's solar and wind. It's a hybrid platform that we have. And this is something that we've actually grown right from 2 kilowatts right now to be up to 28 kilowatts. And we've just been growing it. And as the size of the Machan has been growing from 1 treehouse to 21 today, we've also successively moved these up the chain as well, where we today run everything, including all your refrigerators in your rooms, everything on solar.
So Varun, let me understand this as a 4-year-old, which I really am. You've got your own power base basically, which now I realize is allowed.
Yeah.
So why the hell am I listening to the government and relying on them? Because, every 3 days, not so much in Mumbai, but in many parts of India, things just go off for no reason.
Yeah.
Like a week in Calcutta had 5 minutes of light. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, which is quite ridiculous. Actually, we're quite blessed in Bombay from that perspective. But as far as we're concerned, there initially was never an option. There was no electricity there. So, of the last 22 years that we've been in those parts, 1,000 feet above Lonavala, we had no energy there. The local village used to get a supply from us. Who thought of this
idea? We'll go to these really remote places, which of course sound nice on our brochure for sure.
Right.
But who thought, it's such a huge challenge. Why go there and then have this huge challenge?
Again, I think this has partly to do with my father. He's like, as far as I can get away from Bombay, the better I am. And then he started encroaching into Pune. He said, Achha, now back it up a little bit. So we got stuck in Lonavala.
Any familiar territory, you have to run away. Fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you've got your own power base, and so this is, as you say, an eco-friendly place. Now, tell us a little bit more about the birth of Machan, why it all happened. Let's get into the whole background. I saw you drive in your lovely Ferrari. I'm so impressed with how well you guys are doing. Of course, the power is, we don't use petrol or diesel,
right.
And I noticed you have odd and even numbers, both lasted for any emergency. But let's go right back to the beginning and talk about Varun as a young man. He was a consultant with Accenture for 4 years.
That's right, yeah.
When I say that, I speak of you and not another Varun, so don't worry if I shift into third person. So Accenture for 4 years, just a typical upper middle class sort of background, it looks like, with a job in a good MNC, and then what happened?
So this was I actually was away for 10 years. So I was in
jail, perhaps?
Well, a little bit, yeah.
You were with the AAP party in Delhi and fighting forces.
Yeah, so I was in the US, and at that point in time, so we finished school and then we immediately started working, so kind of got stuck in that entire cycle. Mm-hmm. So that's where the consulting bit came from. Spent about 4 years. We were doing fairly well, but the whole premise was I wanted to come back to India. At that point, I'd been away for 10 years.
But you were a senior project manager with ACS for 2 years as well.
Yeah.
So, which means you were going in another direction altogether?
No, similar direction, all technology, but just moving up the food chain in terms of giving people more work to do and not doing enough work yourself. So I just started succeeding at that.
But you had Americans under you as senior project manager.
Yes, very much so.
Would you use a heavy Indian accent just to irritate them? Hey Arnold, come here, yaar, this is all wrong. I mean, I just want to do that once in my life. Yeah. Get a job with foreign people and speak in the wrong Indian accent, which never actually exists.
Which doesn't exist, exactly. So you have to behave like Apu if you're there. Yeah. You have to get any sort of credits. They're like, you must be something else.
Yeah, Apu, I think he's given, Simpsons have given him a South Indian name and a North Indian accent.
Exactly.
They don't even care.
They don't care. They're like, that brown guy.
Yeah, I mean, that's so racist.
That actually happened to me because when I got into ACS, they were like, we need to open a new center in Hyderabad. So I'm in a room it's 8 of us
They all
in there.
look at you.
I'm the one brown guy in there, and they're like, let's send him.
Yeah.
So I basically had to say, yeah, no, thank you. I just came from there, so I'm good. I'm just going to hang out here in Atlanta. They're like, nahi yara, please, we'll set you up properly and all that.
The equivalent to that would be if there's like one Jewish guy in the 10 board of trustees, and they say, okay, Arab Israel, big problems there. You go.
You go, exactly. It was one of those. Yeah. So they did end up sending me back to Hyderabad. That's when I came back to India to set the shop up for them. Spent about a year
but
doing
all
that.
along, you're still very much part of a workforce and a corporate ladder and not thinking of doing your own thing.
No, not at all. At that point in time, I was completely focused on sort of running up the ladder. And that's actually when it happened, when I figured out that I didn't want to be partner. That just wasn't something that I wanted to do at an Accenture, at an ACS, is when I started looking outward and I said, let me just hang back in India. We were discussing the whole startup culture then. This was back in 2009, so still things weren't kicking up that much. I still figured we should stay back here and give it a shot, and that's when I kind of quit my job.
The big question that people hopefully listening will ask is, especially in successful ventures, everybody says, why didn't I think of it? That, immediately tells you that, you've got a good thing going. And when I read it immediately, I'm thinking, why did I think of it? Luxury, eco-resort, you're ticking all the boxes there. The point is, who thought of this? Where did this actual germ of an idea happen? Because that's the key to the whole thing.
It's been an organic journey for us, really, because we had a very large vacation home, which was also a tree house on the same 25 acres that we are on today. So the way this kind of happened over the years is that I was away, my younger brother was also in New York, parents were here, so he would go up once every week. Mom would say, "Screw you, I'm going only once a month."
Mom never says screw you. This is a podcast that people will download once in a while.
My bad.
You're real bad, no. Mr. Hooja without the A. Yeah, okay. The mom said no way, and
yeah. So basically, he was going up there himself, and then he figured he was using it maybe a couple of days a week. So his friends found out, friends of friends found out, and they kept saying, "Hey, if you're not there this weekend, can I come?
Can
up?
I take my girlfriend up there just to do a project?"
I know.
You're the senior project manager.
Yeah,
you said yes.
It's very academical.
There you go.
So that's how it kind of started, and we ended up having a bunch of people we didn't know, and you couldn't tell anybody, "Hey, don't go up there and get your own khoon and your own daru." So we had to start organizing stuff for people until it got to a point where my mom said, "Listen, if you bring any more laundry home and my maid runs away, you're going to be washing the damn laundry." So my dad panicked at that point in time and said, "Dude, put up a sign, tell people jana to jao, huh? But here are the dates, don't keep asking me questions, khana hai, pani hai sab, jao."
So it's almost a practical, logical reason to sort of take this forward.
Yeah.
Just to get out of the family hair.
No, we also realized, wait, people are willing to pay us for this? Great.
Yeah, I was just thinking the other flip side of the whole thing is you go to a place which is far away and suddenly if you're stuck with people you don't really like, you know, it's okay for 2 hours at a party or whatever, but mostly you're going to go for 4 nights, 5 nights, that kind of thing, and you're stuck with people. What if that happens?
So primarily what we've been doing here is that we've kind of made it so that you have your own space. So we're making socializing optional here. It sounds kind of weird, but today in everyday society, you step out of your elevator, you're gonna get into your car, your driver's gonna be there, you get out, you're at work, you're always surrounded by people.
Isn't it lovely, yaar? No more walking in the khet like the old days. Ah, Bhaji, hold my hand and let's just go into the car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in any case, the purpose was to get away. So when we're there, basically everybody's kind of, so you're on a 25-acre property with only about 20 units on it, so you're very spaced out. So if you're coming with somebody, and this can happen, and we've seen it before.
Wow, yeah, breakthrough.
But if you're not too happy with them, then you will face shit because we don't do television.
I experienced this. Sorry to interrupt. I experienced this on a boat once. Yeah. Somebody took us for this damn party, and it was an 8 o'clock invite on a boat off the harbour here in Mumbai.
Right.
And it went on to like 4 a.m, but it wouldn't stop to drop people off. And then after about 12, I had enough drinks and food. I want to get out, and you're stuck in the middle of the So just thinking, the worst thing socially is being stuck when you don't want to be there. Yeah. So it is possible, and for Mumbaikars, maybe not for Delhiites, but for Mumbaikars, 25 acres what is that, man? That's the whole city. Yeah. I mean, what are you talking? You're just throwing it out there, but 25 acres is a lot of space. All right, let's get to another important point, which is the word. I've done my hunting in the old days before I joined PETA. And Machan, it's that thing the box which you put on the elephant, right?
Well, yeah, actually. So it's any hunting platform that's elevated off the ground. So you used to have them up in trees as well, basically used as a hunting platform. So your Jim Corbett days onwards, basically, whatever sort of a rough bamboo Machan you'd create up in a sort of a tree trunk so that you would elevate it, you tie bait below and then shoot.
What if the elephant likes bamboo? Puts his trunk back and starts eating the Machan, the tiger's waiting on the side. People should think this through, yeah?
It's very ecologically sound, you see.
You only care about the ecology and the environment. I care about my life in the middle of the wild. So you came up with this idea for the word Machan?
Actually, it came up on the fact that we actually had, so the first treehouse that we built was built on the same tree where we used to have a bamboo Machan. So we had that for many years, and every monsoon it'd get very soggy, and then you'd have to kind of risk your life stepping out there, and dad will be like, come, we'll have 4 drinks and hang out there. Not happening. So,
imagine 8 Johnny Walkers, you're on a Machan in the middle of tiger country, and it seems so close.
We're very close to nature here. So eventually he decided to do something slightly safer, and he went kind of overboard, and we built this giant 2,500 square foot structure right around that
The
tree.
mother of all Machans.
Yes.
Hold for reverb. Machan.
Nice.
All right. Now let's get to Heritage Machan, Varun, which is, you have a total of 5 built today to cater to user needs.
5 types, yes.
So what does that mean?
That means, for instance, there is only one Heritage Machan. That's the original one I was talking about.
Which is the one near Lonavala.
So all of these are on the same 25-acre property, basically.
Okay, so it's bifurcated or divided like that.
And they're different types of units. So, so you'll have something that's called a canopy Machan. So you'll have 3 of those, right? So those are going to be on a different part of the property. So you really don't see any of your neighbors. You're not really overlooking anybody else. So they're all kind of sparsely...
Oh, so you've created Bangladesh and Pakistan. You've already done that.
Yeah, exactly.
You've quietly put lines of control all over. Lovely.
Yes,
Lovely.
yes. So you can come and hang out.
So I don't cross into your Machanistan, so to speak.
Not really, yeah. So if for instance, if you're in a Sunset Machan, you're never going to really traverse across
so
the
my
canopy,
group,
guys.
my gang, whoever, we have our one area, and we don't see your group and your gang, another group.
You come down, let's say for dinner, you'd probably do an outdoor. We do sort of candlelit dinners by the moonlight. We don't have any artificial lighting. So you'll kind of come down, do a bonfire and whatnot. That's when you kind of see there's other people on the property.
No artificial lighting at all?
Very, very minimal, all LED. Because
so what do I want to read in the night?
No. You've got all the electricity you need within your rooms.
Okay.
It's the paths and all outside that we keep it very minimally lit.
No, because some people marry really ugly spouses, so I understand where you're coming from. If there's no electricity in the room, you don't have to see the person, fair enough. Darling, you're looking great. You've lost a lot of weight. Just stay on your side of the bed, for God's sake. I'm just...
That's awesome, man.
Kudos to you, man. Fantastic. So 5, let me again understand, because as a moron, I've not done my research properly. So we have 5 different areas in this huge property.
Right, which have different kinds of structures. So certain structures like the forest Machans can accommodate, let's say, a forest and jungles can have like 4 people in each unit. They're going to be 2 bedroom, 2 bath. It's like a very large unit.
Okay.
And then the canopies.
Why is it called Forest Machan?
These were zones within the property that we had before we actually constructed these Machans. So whichever zone it felt in, we just named it after that. So the name is
from the background, not what it is now.
Yeah, more from the background. But you're actually so there's like somebody will call you up and say forest or jungle mein kya farak hai, and then it gets to a very hard explanation, right? But we just try and tell them, sir, yahan pe
for the record, kya hai farak? One is Indian and one is African, is it?
Thoda bahut.
Something like that.
Forest is a little bit more Western. We
can't say pa in Hindi, no? That 4 word is a big pain.
Forest.
That's why the 4-letter word is not a big hit in India.
Yeah.
BCMC still rules. Go across India and see. Nobody says F. I've been in so many fights, Varun. I use my F word, thinking, now he'll give it back to me, and he only comes back with BCMC.
Yeah. He didn't even catch that. He's like, Gali bhi nahi deta ye.
It sounds Bengali, yaar. Okay, great. So we've got 5 different zones, and to understand again, obviously there are common areas.
Yeah.
So it's not like your anti-social activity happening, but you have your space and you have your
you have the common areas where you can come in, for dinner and such.
All right, and let's now talk about that. There are 20,000 indigenous evergreen trees. Is this correct?
Yeah, that's. We actually walk around and count them.
So this is already there. That'll be good fun if you don't pay your bill.
Yeah, count the trees. Run the census. Well, actually, this is a ballpark estimate. So when we actually came onto the property over 20 years ago, the whole thing was cut and burned to the ground, and we've actually just helped rejuvenate the forest. We actually haven't planted any of these trees. This is just basically fencing it in and requesting anywhere, boss, katna mat, please. And then after he doesn't listen to you, then you hire him.
Who's going to cut trees in that area hundreds of feet above sea level?
Everybody around that area. Yeah, completely, right? Because when there aren't any fences...
What are the rules, though, since you're on the whole eco business? What are the rules? We don't know. We are Mumbaikars and city guys. You go into an area which is forested or jungle or whatever.
Right.
Are you allowed to cut a tree as a citizen of India?
No.
Are you allowed to pull the branch?
Yes.
Can you swing from the branch once or twice?
In a sense, you can tease the tree but not cut it down.
Can you make love to the tree if there's nobody watching? Can you
Yeah, pretty much.
Dominate it in a dog-like way?
We charge extra though.
Too many of your guests do that.
No.
And if they do, can I see the video? Very interesting. Alright, so 20,000 indigenous evergreen trees. Now this is almost, again, for the urban, I think as you mentioned earlier, the urban experience is totally different. And we're just caught in this capsule of urbanness now, most of us. And we just can't imagine what it's like actually. We've completely lost touch with rural India or with what was the real India for many, many years. So 20,000 indigenous evergreen trees sounds too good to be true.
Right. So, I mean, if you're from Bombay, basically just think about it. It looks like a sea of green, basically. So
wow.
We're always in these elevated platforms.
Sounds like an Armstrong song. Sea of green, something blue.
Yeah. So it's basically that, right? So when you're up in these elevated perches, you basically are just surrounded by green cover. It's really pretty. It's basically just tons of green around you.
Have you, Varun, Hooja, and I'm asking you this honestly because this is the way to sell the product. Have you ever made love in that area?
In that area?
In your, what do I call it? Machan, the entire Machanistan? What do we call the whole place?
Just Machan.
Okay, so have you ever made love in Machan?
Yes.
How many times?
This counts myself, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay, I've lost count.
Oops. Typical Indian male, huh? Don't wait for the partner to turn up.
Yeah. We're good, you know.
It's 6 p.m. I've had my drink. Need to start. Keep in touch. All right. I'll tell you what, we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back and lots more to talk about. Interesting parts about Varun the man still to be focused on. But remember, it's called Machan and it's a fun place for you to go to, far away from the hustle bustle of the city.
Very true.
Cyrus says, stop picking your nose, listen to this ad. India's first storytelling podcast is out now. You can download Tall Tales Takeaway on our website, indusvox.com, or on your favorite podcasting app on iOS, Android, and Windows. And that's what Cyrus says.
Yes, back here with Cyrus Says, more importantly and more interestingly, with a man who's giving us a better life, if you like it. He's the governor and the chief minister of a place called Machan, which is somewhere near Lonavala. How do we...
So we're basically another 1,000 feet above Lonavala, towards Ambi Valley, basically.
Okay, but not in Ambi Valley.
No, we're about 8 kilometers short of Ambi.
Yeah, so please don't go to Ambi Valley. Just
please
stay
don't
at
go to
Machan.
Ambi Valley, yeah.
Unless, of course, they want to sponsor the show, in which case I'll have to edit it again and do the whole thing.
That's fine.
You're okay too, right?
That's fine.
Well, you'll get your cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so just to go back, Machan is essentially a luxury eco-resort and it has been awarded many awards, but the biggest one that we found was TripAdvisor, which says it's one of the best, if not the best, eco-friendly place to stay at. And I think this is a big issue for us now in India, where we, I think, are urbanizing faster than anybody else. Perhaps in the West, they've realized what they've done wrong in the last 50 years and they've sort of stopped it. And you have people standing there, women taking off their t-shirts and saying, stop it.
Yeah, which is excellent.
Excellent. I'm on your side immediately. They get my vote. So, but in India, I think we've not even realized we live in this bubble. We don't even seem to realize that we're losing forests, we're losing nature, we're losing. We have no idea what the other India is like. For those of us who listen to this podcast and live here.
So this is actually a fair bit of an issue. We are sandwiched between Bombay and Pune, two fairly large
and Pune
cities.
Is now Bombay B. Okay, it's no longer a small little hill town. It's a
absolute
bustle.
And the disappointing part is all of it is very unplanned. So you would have figured we could have learnt from the mistakes that Bombay made, and that's what we've been cursing at all day today. But Pune is going ahead and doing exactly the same thing, and so we're just trying to be a little island of green between these two places. But it's a difficult thing to do because 25 acres, we said it's a lot, but it's not really. You can't really be an ecosystem or an ecological place just in that amount of space.
So are there plans to expand? Because I know you're making lots of money.
Yeah. Well, not about the money.
See
but
the big smile, Varun. They can't see it, but I can see it.
Yeah, no, plans to expand, absolutely. We're looking, we spent last month actually in Madhya Pradesh doing Panna, doing
Tiger Reserve,
Kana, doing the Tiger Reserves and trying to set something up there. Again, to be close to nature, off-grid, and kind of stick to the same values. So the game plan here is to do a lot of chota projects just like this, micro projects across the length and breadth of India, vis-a-vis actually commercializing one large plot of land and saying, aa jao, baith jao.
But there's so many pretty parts of India which have just been left alone.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I can think of Nainital, for example, Mussoorie, all these places up north, up in the south as well. And nobody seems to exploit them properly. You think we've really let our people down in a sense of making this a vacation center, a vacation hub, and getting people from all over the world to come as well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and there are still places that are completely untouched, even as high as reaches of Leh Ladakh. We all know that, right? But few people venture that far out.
Honestly, as a 94-kilo man, Leh Ladakh is a bit high for me. I 3 steps and I'm out of breath. It's like Adnan Sami in the old days. Yeah. Playing the piano, he'd be tired. Like that. Because now he's an Indian citizen, things have changed. They're all good.
He's fit now.
He's fit.
Yeah.
But it's sort of cheating fit, because to be honest, what is it? Bariatric, right? What is it called?
Bariatric.
Whatever, bariatric.
I'm not sure why you're asking me, but I'm saying
No, I'm just saying because they pull out the fat. That's cheating. Yeah. Think of all the people who spend hours and hours trying to lose weight in gyms.
It's not just pull out the fat. They're also going to staple his stomach and other fun stuff like that. So
but it's 15 minutes. That's not fair. The guy spent 20 years trying to lose weight, man. They go to different dietitians. They go to different gyms. They do all kinds of workouts and cross-train and fast-train and pause-train and no white food, no bread food, no green food. And this guy goes into a hospital and 15 minutes later he's lost 100 kilos.
That's awesome. And a new wardrobe to boot with that.
Yeah, right? And chicks are just falling into his hands wherever he goes. And on top of that, the only mistake he made is he became an Indian. Why? You could have been Canadian, you could have been British. Why? I understand no Pakistan, but why India? To each his own. Why are we going there? We're talking about you and your eco luxury resort, which is, hopefully, there's a social angle here which we've not really explored enough of. Just want to quickly get into that, which is that we've got this urban culture, we've got the 5-star culture, we've got the pubs, but there's not that much to do for Indians. I realize that on weekends with families, there's just not so many places to go to and things to do.
Very true. So that's kind of that was part of the genesis of why Machan came about, right? It was to give you the option to step out of the city and kind of get outdoors, right? So that's a rarity now. So even in Bombay, we have Sanjay Gandhi National Park, but you can't really venture in.
It's like one starving lion who they then catch, they feed him, he's like a well-trained dog, and they put stripes on him and they send him out again. And they say, now we've got a tiger. I mean, this is cheating, bro. They can't do that kind of thing.
So that was highly depressing, right? So and that's why the Machan comes in. So if you actually want to get out of the city, spend time away, we actually still don't have cell phone signals there. There's no Wi-Fi. You're going to be kind of really cut off. If you
so what do I do for porn? That's the question people are going to ask you.
You can come down to the executive center and we can
watch live stuff. I'm in.
Some of the tree hugging stuff. Yeah.
Come on, brother. If I want to see plants making out, man, I wouldn't be born in India. There's no space for plants in our country. We send them away. Yeah. So Heritage Machan is the first one out of totally 5 that were built. So just remember, it's a huge space if you want to go out there. And what about bookings? Is it or throughout 12 months a year? How does it work?
Yeah, 12 months a year. We're completely online. Rains are actually one of the busiest periods of the year for us, and the winters.
Because you get free water, so you don't have to worry about that. That's one of your power sources.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it works well for us, and then you can jump into a seasonal pool, which is basically a dam.
Which, as good Desis, we all contribute with our own body fluids. So
no,
there's no end to that.
We keep that little aside.
Yeah, but listen, what about the government? I want to know, just off the record, we won't air this ever. Do they help you or hinder you? Because in one way, you're doing the right by the citizenship of India that you have, which is, you're trying to do the right thing by the environment and locality, etc., etc., plus promoting a much better positive side of our country. So do they help you because of that, or do they get irritated because you're like a law of your own, doing your own thing?
It's a bit of both. So what ends up happening here is that we have to have really good relationships with the actual person in charge of a particular process, so whether it be forest or so on and so forth. So as individuals, they're very helpful, but the policies as a whole are not very conducive to assisting with this kind of a venture. It's not really in place as yet.
You don't give them free membership like we do in the clubs?
No, I try and have them come over as often as they can, but
it's that live entertainment I discussed a little earlier with you.
Yes.
Push that and you'll have everybody happy. But it's a little sad, we're making fun, but a little sad that the authorities don't get behind projects like this. Even though, of course, they are profit-based, etc., but just thinking that India is never seen as a country that's ecologically sound or environmentally friendly. Let's face it, the Western powers look down on us as people who are very good with our commerce and trying to get up in life, but not really interested in what's happening in our own country in terms of ecology.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's changing shortly. Also on the fact that a lot of us are traveling, everybody's traveling, coming in, bringing in their own thought processes. So I think that's something that's going to take a little time to catch on. And the more projects that you can do that bring this to the forefront. So you don't have to be an educational institution to do that. You can just have somebody come out and have, stay, let's say 2 nights with you out in the middle of nowhere, have a great time, right? And they're going to take something back with them, which is more of an experience. So we tell everybody we're not in the business of selling you a hotel room. We're in the business of catering an experience for you. An experience is something that you'll actually take with you for some years to come, vis-a-vis just saying, I was at, I don't know, Hilton.
No, but I was thinking if 20 years down the line, if we all had solar consumption or we had solar panels of our own across the length and breadth pan-India, what does the government do? They don't shut down a department.
No, that's awesome because they can actually run these as power plants. So right now they'll
keep a guy who puts on an on switch.
No, so that's the best part. He has to go and clean the panels, and then he'll have tons of panels. So
it's always the cleaning job.
It's always the cleaning jobs, and then that guy will hire. He'll get such a high pay. He'll hire somebody else to do his job. Exactly.
And never know how much they're getting paid. Of course,
it doesn't matter.
All right, let's not get into any controversial area. I think the main point is that in a budding, growing new economy, these kind of things always make it worthwhile. I think for a person living in the country to enjoy his own country rather than have to go to Switzerland to see the Alps. No double meaning in that. Though I have seen Mount Titlis. No double meaning in that. Moving on, now let's talk a little bit about yourself, Varun. Where were you born? Tell us your story.
I was born technically in Hyderabad, but I flew out in 3 weeks, and so been brought up up in Bombay all my life.
So are you from Telangana? Are you from Andhra Pradesh or Seema? Which is the territory?
Wherever Hyderabad is right now.
It's very confusing. Nobody knows.
I'm not sure, but that's okay because I left after 3 weeks.
There's like 7 states who are trying to take. Chandigarh is like 4 fighting. only Mumbai nobody wants at the moment for some reason.
No, but I don't know why that happens because I figured we should be separate as well.
We should make the capital of Maharashtra Machan, which is somewhere 10,000 feet above Lonavala. Am I right?
1,000 feet.
But not quite Ambi Valley. Let's not give them a promotion.
Yeah.
Okay, so going back, you were born in Hyderabad and tell us about your early life.
Basically born and brought up in Bombay. Went to school, Jamnabai, did all the bais, did Jamnabai.
You're a Juhu boy.
Then did Mithi Bai, the sweet one.
Then the other bais will leave off.
Yeah, then we just left. So after that, my father would come with me first day of school, first day of college. After he saw Mithi Bai, he's like, you need to give your SATs and get the shit out of here.
Yeah.
So,
he wasn't happy with the canteen?
Actually,
sandwich was quite famous.
No, he went into the classroom and figured it was a canteen, and that's when he was disappointed to see there was no khana around, but they were supposed to teach there. That's not happening.
Right. And so you moved out to the States, West Coast?
Yeah, actually East Coast. So I went and studied outside a small school outside of Boston called Babson College. So when
Babson. In Gujarati we say Babson.
Babson. There were a bunch of Gujus there also.
Yeah, so you had fun?
What
is it with us Indians? They're everywhere. Throw a stone, you find them.
Yeah. So
you must have thought, Babson, I'm safe.
Yeah, I know. Shit. And, they're like, you must be part of the Indian community here. No, I just came from there.
God. Why do they have those cultural things abroad, yeah? Where everybody has to dance to old Carnatic vocal music and all that. Why do they do that?
I have yet to figure that out. But it did happen. It did happen.
I'm sure.
It definitely happened. I think it's more for Gora entertainment. They're like, look at these guys. Very nice, very nice.
And the next generation of Indian boys especially looking nonplussed and unhappy and oh God.
So did my schooling there, and then after that, Accenture and so on and so forth. You just get caught in work and
So tell us, this is a family business? This is like a mafia run thing? It's all you Sicilians together?
Pretty much, actually.
The Hoojas.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, Hoojas.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody else.
So it is, because my mom's involved as well. Because when,
So what kind of role do you play? Dad's still the alpha male.
Yeah.
Mom's still dominating you.
Yeah.
You got a younger brother who's probably putting in his 2 bits. So what role does Varun play?
I come on Cyrus's shows.
Yeah, you promote.
Yeah, so once in 5 years, I do something.
Are you like our government? Once in 5 years, they do something.
I have a 5-year plan. It's do nothing.
Manmohan Singh had a 10-year plan. Very similar. You borrowed that, didn't you? Yeah. All right, so let's talk about your personal life now. Married?
Married, yes.
And happy? How many kids?
Sonia, she's
Sonia?
Pregnant right now. Two Sonia.
What the hell are you talking about, boy? Then take us off the air.
No.
Okay, so you're married to Sonia.
To Sonia.
And she's just pregnant,
She's pregnant right now, yeah.
So congratulations. You're going to have your first child, is it?
Yes, I'm not so sure about the congratulations because I don't think we're ready for this.
Who do you suspect?
I know.
Old parsley joke, sorry about that. Terrible, very bad.
I'm going to wait till it comes out and be like, DNA testing.
Take them straight to Machan. Let them have a better life. Yeah? Away from the hustle and bustle. What about coming back to Machan for a second? What about the food there? Well, we mentioned food. That's a very integral part. I mean, as you age, it's the only sense left for most of us.
Correct.
Very important pleasure, which is guaranteed on the brochure. So what kind of food and how does that work out?
So we don't run an external restaurant. We have all the food services are catered only to our in-house guests. All the food is going to be more home-style North Indian fare. So right from tandoors to a lot of home-style kind of cooking, low on the oil, low on fats, but not diet food kind of stuff. So, and that's where my mom comes in as well, right? So we do have a exec chef, but then she'll work with him to make sure that we always stick to our roots, and it's kind of, it's stuff that you'll enjoy and you can keep eating. So a lot more tandoor stuff, a lot more baked stuff.
So tandoor means barbecue, Indian version, outdoors, all that.
All
so you have that option?
We can even bring so if you wanted to do just a barbecue by yourself, we can just marinate meats and bring it by your table, and you can go at it yourself, grab a beer and hang out and just do your own barbecue.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
And are you allowed to cook your own food as well? Is that an option?
That is actually the best option because then you can't complain to me about how shitty the food was.
No, I just thought that's a great idea also.
No, so we actually have to. So since it's a hotel, basically you have to be careful about. Even if you bring your own khana and you get sick off of it, I'm still liable. So theoretically, I can't let you do that, but I can marinate stuff and say, okay, if you like to grill your own khana and so on and so forth, we can sort of get you all the raw materials, put it together for you, and you can go at it yourself.
Okay, this Eco Resort doesn't do anything themselves. The power is supplied by somebody else. It's all there ready for you. You're going to cook your own food, walk around yourself, do everything yourself, but it's fun. Fun for everybody. Just talk about the rates. Take us to the rates. Not to be critical, but is it on the high side?
So we start off around 8,000 rupees, all the way up
per night.
Yeah.
And that's one person.
No, that's for 2 people, including breakfast. So it's not so bad.
What if you're 2 people and one is pregnant? So technically 3 people. Then is it still 8,000? How does it work?
We let it slide.
Oh, you good guy, you.
Yeah, we let it slide.
So 8,000 bucks doesn't sound that bad.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad. And obviously there'll be packages for groups and all that.
Yeah, I mean, so we've also got something called the Exec Center, which is basically another something like 3,000 square feet elevated structure that's made for if you want to do meetings or you want to do very specific events. Let's say, for instance, you want to get engaged, but you don't want to do it at the race course like everybody else.
God, really?
So you'll say...
all those studs watching?
Just 50 people want to get out there, do something very private, or we have, you're doing a quarterly meet or whatever and you want to do anything. It could be even a couch session that you guys want to
corporates like to have their little appraisals and their weekend getaways.
Yeah,
so
quietly. Quietly.
There you go.
So nobody will hear because you can't even get on the phone.
As an aside, that's the American way, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember in MTV in the old days, we'd have this weekend retreat on Monday. The 4 guys are gone. But the same 4 guys give speeches and,
like we left them back there.
we drank together, everyone had 10 drinks, hugged each other, did the bhangra all night and then gone Monday.
So a bit of that. So we have people come out and do these sort of escapes for both corporates as well as independent parties. And so that's something that's picking up as well because people want to get away from doing it at a standard hotel within the city.
And a word of caution, there are no wild animals at Machan at the moment. Could you be killed by a marauding leopard or something like that?
No, unfortunately, 8 years since we had the last leopard on the property.
Oh, how sad.
Yeah, which is kind of sad. But we've still got a plethora of snakes, wild boar, deer, scorpions if you're into those.
Oh, okay.
A bunch of interesting critters.
I like female scorpions, but for some reason I can't, really elaborate. So how sad. But what if there was a panther or a leopard? That would be beautiful.
It'd be awesome. We're actually talking to the forest department now.
And then who would be cooking whose food? I'm just thinking.
Whose food period?
Who's making food? Yeah, really. Wow. Excellent. All right. So it's a great place to go. That's all we'll say about it. But before we end the program, we were discussing startups before we started talking.
Yeah.
And I want to get your view on this because you're an entrepreneur. You're sort of a visionary. Your family's... let's face it, it's against the play, the kind of work that you all are trying to do. What's happening in India at the moment? We were reading in the papers, every day they talk about, there's so many different startups and they all seem to do well. Is there like a bubble that we don't know that's going to burst one day? Is it all media hype or is it all really happening?
Like we were discussing before the show, I think that there's a lot of angles to it, right? And a lot of it has to do with the bubble as well. Like we said, food services, for instance, right? Food delivery, like main khana pahuncha dunga. Great idea. 17 people want to do it now, and then 16 are doing a cruddy job.
And your dhabba wala in South Mumbai is still cheaper.
Yeah,
and efficient.
Yeah, and he's more efficient, right?
Fantastic.
Besides all the logistics and whatnot. So that is a phenomenal
Except body
thing.
odor, but you do it from far. He drops it and walks away,
Bhai aap le lena.
Main aayega 2 minute ke baad. Which in English translates to I'm coming in 2 minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The food was that exciting.
All right. No. So talk about the startups again. Is it an illusion? I mean, is that a fair question firstly? But what do you think?
I think a little bit of it is, but now I think as soon as, I don't know, it just happened. Calendar year changed. You start reading the papers. Now they're like, now there is going to be a lower sentiment on all of this. I'm like, damn it, I missed the wave again.
Oh, damn it.
So, yeah.
And Machan is estimated at...
No.
We'll come back to you on that one. After this podcast, you'll go through the roof, brother.
Yeah,
which is a pun to the Machan.
Done.
All right. Thank you so much for being on the show. But as we end, we have an awkward moment we like to end with on this silly podcast called Cyrus Says. And that is, we'd like you to sing your favorite song. Awkward silence for 1 second and then you can't see it, but Varun is choking himself to death right now.
Right.
Come on.
No, we're good. Thank you.
Come on, Varun. For Machan.
Yeah, no.
Come on. Your wife is pregnant. It'll be something sweet for you to remember later on.
I don't think you ever want to hear if your kid listen to this, no.
Varun Hooja without the A.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, though.
Yeah, we won't pressurize you. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful. And about the 50% group discount, I'll get back to you on that so we can...
Absolutely.
Because I want to look like you're giving favors to people on the podcast.
Absolutely.
They'll try and, get to you as well.
Nice.
Oh, you're going to come back with the AMA, so stay where you are.
Oh, okay.
Cyrus says, ask me anything. If you want Cyrus to answer your questions on air, send an email to whatcyrussays@gmail.com. If you send us a link to a sound file on SoundCloud, we'll even play you asking the question in your own voice. And that's what Cyrus says.
All right, quick wind up here on Cyrus Says. One thing we would like to touch on is the kind of events that, what kind of things you can do.
Yeah, so it's all outdoor based stuff. So we actually have guided yoga sessions every day. So we do yoga, we do nature trails.
How hot is the yogi? Or yogini?
It's a dude.
Oh man,
Sorry to disappoint. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. I can't tell my ass from my na, but I'll do my best.
Yeah, so I mean, you can engage in yoga. There's 4 kilometers of nature trails on which we have a naturalist with us. So we have a lot of rotating naturalists from the UK, US, India.
And what do you get to see on the trail?
Basically a lot of
Indians.
Behind you, yeah. But
Indians.
Yeah. So a bunch of birds and some deer and that kind of stuff.
So if you get lucky, you get the big animals. Otherwise, you get what you get also.
Yeah. You'd get some reptiles and so on and so forth. You might come across snake, all sorts of fun stuff like that. And we've also got a small spa on the property, which actually does pretty well. So if you wanna
the massage and all the usual things. Sounds great. So what about do you play any sports there? Can you?
We've got some mountain bikes that you can ride. That they're free of charge. You can grab the mountain bikes. There's going to be like cricket set, softball set. Stuff to do outdoors. Frisbee.
So family, there's plenty to do.
Yeah, frisbee. Just get out and sort of do that kind of stuff.
And then the ultimate sport of all, which is glass in hand and right forearm
bottoms up.
Either the right forearm goes up or the right forearm goes down. But either way, yeah. All right, cheers. Wonderful. It's called Machan. You've got to go there. It's somewhere near Lonavala, very accessible. Somewhere between Pune and Mumbai. So there is a place in Maharashtra which is still paradise.
Yeah,
and not a chicken roll restaurant in Mumbai either. By the way.
Paradise.
All right. Time for AMA with Amit Doshi, producer extraordinaire. Now worth $55 billion.
Yeah, that would be so nice. Okay, so the first question we have is from Share a Burger on Twitter. Cyrus, will there ever be another band like the Beatles, ABBA, Bonnie M, or basically another musical band which would change your life, or are we stuck with the crap?
Oh, he's hit me where it hurts. I'm with you, brother. I don't move away from the 70s. I stopped there. So let's talk to our guest today, who Varun with Hooja without the A may have a different spin on all this. He's a one generation below me. Yeah. Varun, what do you take on music today?
Still listening to a lot of stuff that my dad listened to.
Oh, so you're like us, you're square.
Yeah.
No wonder you have no friends.
No friends, hang out by myself.
In a Machan and somewhere far away.
Need a high chair, in other words. So I'm not
all our life growing up, we must have thought that, it can't identify with the old generation.
Yeah.
And suddenly we are the old generation. This is a bit scary.
I know. So I saw a really cool Facebook thing that my cousin put up. She had put up that I feel like, I know that I'm 40, but I feel like I'm 20. But then when I spend some time with 20-year-olds, I realize, no, I'm 40.
Man, I can't get the references. My kids are talking. I can't even get the football references sometimes.
I don't get the references. These guys talk about vacation.
You're not listening enough to Justin Bieber, man.
I have reached a point where my Hindi music knowledge is now better than my Western music knowledge. It's that bad.
That is bad.
And that is a simple place to be.
I'm sorry to hear that. You're the MTV of today, not of yesteryear.
I can't keep up with these guys.
What have you done, Cyrus?
Bootylicious, ludicrous. I mean, that's the last things I remember. And then it's all a haze.
It's all eating.
It all sounds like food, yeah.
Did you know the best behind in the Kardashians is the boys, Robbie? Apparently, it's really large. It's bigger than Kim. I didn't know that. People tell me that. I'm like, where am I?
I had no idea.
Why did I know this?
I don't think I could name a Kardashian.
Why do I know this? You don't. You can't name them.
I'll try Kim.
Yeah, well, let's try Varun.
Okay,
come
can
on.
you name the Kardashians?
No. And go.
Kim.
Yeah.
The other one?
Chloe.
Now there's a dude.
Dude, the boy. Oh, no. Not the stepfather, not the stepmother. That's another story altogether.
So,
yeah, okay. So, I guess we're all pretty sad.
And our families are so conservative. All right, next question.
All right, the next question is from Rinko via email. Happy New Year, Cyrus. I was just watching 99 on TV. Are you working on any new movies?
Yeah, 100. Yeah, Happy New Year, sir. Sadly, the kind of Hindi movie work that we get offered is like C grade, D grade.
Okay.
Although there was one nice thing which came, I don't know what happened. But yeah, if we get any offers, I will tell them. What's the gentleman's name?
Name is Rinku, so I'm guessing that's female.
Rinku is female. Rinku is a pet name, Punjabi normally.
Yeah,
so Rinku, I'm sure you look as pretty as you sound, but the moment we get work, we'll tell you.
We'll let you know.
First you, then my mom. Son, do something with your life. And I don't have a Machan. What I like about these guys, is that they've got a family concern, which can also work against you, because everybody's personalities are strong and no one's scared of anybody, really.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's no hierarchy in a sense. Ultimately, you can fight with your dad and make up later. So I'm just thinking, does it go in circles sometimes? Decision making?
I mean, if your mom's running at you with a balan, then you've had it, right? You're like, oh, the board meeting's off, screw that, I'm out.
And the Japanese investors are they're like, mouths open. What a good culture!
Yeah, I know, they're all into it. They're
I like hit him.
Firm hand. That worked in our favor, yes.
But so how do you sort things out? Who's the cool head?
So it's actually mom. So she's going to come in there and parry all the 3 boys aside and say, this is bullshit, this is work, and this is home, right? So keep it kind of...
Is there a veto power? Do you vote like 3 against 1? How do you make decisions?
Yeah, we try and keep that fairly professional, right? So everybody gets a vote in, but then it doesn't matter in case what dad says happens. So.
And who's on the property at all times?
So we've got a full team of about 80 personnel actually that's handling people there. So even though we...
These are the poor cousins.
No,
straight from Patiala, this village guy.
So,
you're a Hooja, come.
So we've got a great general manager there, Sagar. He actually looks after all of our concerns there, and we've got a whole retinue of staff there. A lot of them have done HM, and a lot of them are from the local villages as well. So we're kind of bringing everybody up with us.
Listen, you're giving a complex to the government. You're giving that they should be doing. All right, you be very careful. I'd put armed guards there.
Yeah.
Israelis are very good, I'm told. Get the right guys in place.
I will look into that.
Oof, amazing. All right, his name is Sagar, Amit, but he's so far away from the sea. Who's running the place? I think that's it. It's called, Cyrus says, thank you so much, Varun Hooja. And it's called Machan, and you have to go there. Somewhere between Pune and Mumbai is a place where we can all have fun. But don't tell my wife, because I'm thinking of taking somebody else. I like Rinku. Rinku sounds nice.
Nice.
She'll never watch any movie again.
You're listening to Cyrus Says.
All views and opinions expressed on this show are not necessarily the views and opinions of the Indus Vox Media Network or any of our show advertisers or sponsors. No animals were harmed in the making of this podcast, obviously.
All right, if you've listened to this show called Cyrus Says and you want your money back, let me tell you, that can't be done right now. But we can make you feel better if you listen to Made in India. That's M-A-E-D, Made in India, with May. There's no D in May. Although, maybe one day. Check it out on ivmpodcast.com.